We're live.
Good morning, afternoon, wherever it is, wherever you're at. So, hey guys, Mark here. Cool day, Monday as usual. Bitter, cold, brutal, and but that's life in the Northeast. Today we're talking to Joe Anderson, Mr. Tat Gun Joe. I can't stand the word tat gun, but I love Joe. So that's just sometimes you got to suck it up a little bit. Joe is an outstanding tattooer, graffiti artist, muralist, painter, all around great guy. I've known him for a few years, been using needle jig for a while. We get together occasionally at shows, have some fun. And if you don't know Joe, I'd like to introduce you to him and, get to know the guy a little bit. So this is Joe. Joe, say hi, man.
Hey, what's going on?
Joe's a man of many words.
Yeah.
Pretty quiet guy, all in all, but your art speaks volumes, to say the least, man. It's bold, it's vivid. The caricature aspects of it. Your art jumps out at people. So, where'd you get started in art, man? Was it obviously as a kid or whatever? But what was your first major medium?
I used to do like a lot of pen and ink. Like when I was really young, like drawing with pens on paper. I loved that. And I've been drawing forever since I can remember. Growing up, I didn't have, it was a different day, so we didn't have all the electronics and stuff. So playing outside a lot and drawing a ton.
Mhm.
It's all about.
When did you? Okay, so pen on paper is one thing. I mean, that's more of an illustrative style or stuff. But when did you get into the bold color renderings and things like that? I mean,
So, before tattooing, I did airbrush. So I used to do t-shirts and stuff like that, which is fun. It was interesting. Um, and that was all just like high contrast, bright color, you know, in your face stuff. So I think a little bit of that, maybe comes from that. And then obviously with tattooing, um, you want to go for bold, high contrast work, just especially being more into color. I think you got to kind of push those down.
is anybody else? You're breaking up to me just a little bit, Joe. There, Gabe,
Ah,
is
man.
is he clear or what? What are you hearing, Gabe?
Yeah, it's breaking up a little bit. You might want to just redo the answer to that one.
Okay, all right. So go back to
Uh,
the airbrushing, man. How'd you get your start? Were you airbrushing T-shirts on a like a fishing wharf or something like that, or what were you doing with the airbrush?
so I used to go with these couple guys. It was called CC Airbrush. And we used to go just travel around different events, a lot of like kids sporting events. You do t-shirts, hats, and then every now and then helmets. I did do a lot of sneakers too. I got really into that. And then we actually set up a kiosk at the Fox River Mall in Appleton. Um, and I was like the main dude there, so I did a ton of stuff there.
So you basically tended to soccer moms. That's for the most part, man. Like.
Yeah,
Ah, okay. So that explains your the female rendering aspects, man. A lot of cougars in your world in the early stage of life. That explains some things right there.
for sure, for sure.
When did you start tattooing, Joe?
Um, I started my apprenticeship in 2010. I think I did my first tattoo in 2011, like as an apprentice,
Okay, where did
um,
you apprentice at?
at Colt's Timeless Tattoos.
Oh man, really?
Yep.
Awesome. That's cool. That's cool. I did not know that, man. That's an interesting tidbit.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of funny because he's like a black and gray guy, and I'm like super color.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I've known you for years, but I guess we all know each other to some degree for sure. But I guess I had no idea that he played that big a role in your beginning. That is awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
airbrushing is actually how I met those guys because they had the shop at that mall,
mhm.
um, and I became friends with them. And then Colt kind of convinced me to to start apprenticing, um, and learning the tattoo stuff. And he actually introduced me to a lot of new school guys early on, like obviously like Jesse Smith, which was pivotal for me having an interest in tattooing, because for me at that point, all I knew of it was, kind of like shaky, traditional, I guess, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
didn't
just
really know
drunken
anything about it.
sailors and, you know, military
Yeah.
and bikers, right?
Yeah. I had no idea that there was like this whole other world because I hadn't
Well,
been introduced to it.
oh, I think that world was still relatively recent back then too. It was like, eh, art wasn't even art now is a huge pivotal or a huge portion of what we do these days. But when I even started, even like back in like 92 and whatnot, the artistic part was still smaller, it was still more, street shop, flash, all that other, fun stuff, military, bikers and all that. And over the years, the tables have turned on that. The art, the real artists have become, and not to say that the artists of days gone by are not real artists, but the people that brought true artistic qualities into tattooing and art as it's known in the museum world into tattooing is still relatively recent. So, I mean, that was maybe a 50-50 split about then. Now it's all art. It's hard to find the I don't want to say less desirable shops, but the traditional shops, they don't exist that much anymore. Almost all shops are custom, the definite majority, I think. What do you think?
Yeah. There's also definitely a lot more private studios,
Mhm.
where with social media, you as an individual artist have such a strong following that you don't necessarily depend on a shop with a reputation, their advertising campaign, whatever they're doing. You can really be a lot more independent these days. So I think that's kind of changed that quite a lot. Um,
Well, that's a
and I
huge
think,
pro and con for some people. It just depends on their ambition and skill set.
yeah, I think for me, I like working at a shop because I like to do art. I don't want to have to take on too much responsibility. I don't really like the overwhelmingness of all these different social medias and taking care of all these things. I feel like I'm always neglecting something. So working at a shop is nice for me because it frees that time up and I can just focus on my art, try to draw and
Mhm.
paint more.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys that leave shops and they go to private studios, and I'm like, man, uh, I don't think I would ever want to do that. It's the camaraderie in a shop is awesome. To be able to feed off of other people's artistic input and the critique and all that back and forth. I mean, that to me is everything. When you get stuck in a private studio by yourself, I know people do it and they do it very well, but to me, limiting your exposure to other artists is counterproductive. So,
Oh, for sure. Um, Not one of us can say we would be where we're at without the help of others.
mm,
And they all play a pivotal role, whether it's been good or bad, whatever the relationships were. Um, Everybody has something to teach you, and you can learn anything from anyone. Um, so distancing yourself from that, I don't think is really good for anybody's career as far as growth is concerned.
okay, so we got you starting out with airbrushing, moving into tattooing. Where along the timeline did you get into like the large scale murals, graffiti, and things like that?
Um, well, I always had an interest in graffiti growing up. It was a huge influence in my style and ideas and things like that. Um, but I kind of didn't really do much of it during tattooing. I kind of just committed everything to tattooing. Um, and then the last couple years, I was like, man, I want to get back into this, and I love spray painting. Fun. It's fun to do things big. and it's super efficient. Like that's what I really love about it. So I started getting back into it. Did a few pieces. I built a practice wall at my house. Um, just kept layering up over that thing a bunch, and then this last year, 2020, um, tattooing being shut down and not really tattooing much when I could again, and everything that transpired, it freed up a lot of time for me. And I met up with somebody that I had been following online, an artist named Salt Rock. I met up with him, and then we started kind of painting together, and that pushed me to like paint more. Um, in Monona, which is like a little town kind of outside of Madison, uh, they actually had this. There's this place called Momentum Art Tech, and they pushed a lot to have businesses allow artists to come with murals on the buildings. So me and Salt were like, well, let's just eat this up and just wreck this area and just do as many walls as we can, as big as we can, whatever. So we spent the later half of the summer just paint, man. Like I
Just
did so
tagging
many murals.
everything you could.
Yeah, we just went, did all legal stuff. I don't do the illegal stuff. I'm too old to be running and ducking. But
None of us do any illegal stuff, Joe.
um, but yeah, we did a lot of stuff, and it was cool, man. We got to do a few things that like I did this. We did this one mural, a Native American one. I did a portrait. I think it's Sitting Bull, and he did the lettering that says "We are still here."
Hmm.
And so that was a good one. That one had some meaning and a message behind it. So that was impactful. And stuff like that's really
Yeah. Now we're
uh,
looking at that piece right now. It's pretty cool.
yeah.
I
Fun.
love that font. I love the lettering, man. That's
Yeah,
dope.
Salt did that. He crushed his lettering, man. Stuff
Ah,
like edgy and like grimy. He's a good dude.
nice. Nice, man. So, and that was like one of the things I was like, I remember we talked, a little bit early on when this whole pandemic thing was first starting, and nobody nobody knew what was going on, and nobody still knows what's going on realistically. But
It's hard to find.
it's insane, man. But like, I mean, what I'm curious about is how this has affected you. Obviously, you just said, you got more back into your large scale art, and to get back to roots and fine tune those skills and whatnot. But like, I think a lot of us have had to be a little more creative as to how we're putting food on the table, what we're doing, things like that or whatever. So, well, without prying too personally, but like, maybe you can help out some other artists by giving other people ideas as to what you've done during this time that's enabled you to just keep moving forward.
Okay, so a couple things that happened that kind of like changed my situation a lot. Um, Initially, Wisconsin said no tattooing, and we contacted our landlord to communicate with her about that. But she wasn't having it. Like she wasn't really willing to work with us on rent. So we were kind of put in a financial position where like we're not really sure what we're gonna do and figure this out. But luckily, she had a tenant that wanted a bigger place, so they came and looked at the place. They liked it. They took over the lease, so that I was able to leave that lease. But in doing so, we had to move up north back to my hometown, Wisconsin Rapids, a very small town. Um, the benefit of that is the cost of living here is next to nothing. I'm paying maybe a third to live
Right.
as what I was in Madison. Um, and then to sort of balance like making money, not tattooing, um, I do a lot of online auctions on my Instagram and sometimes Facebook. So I'll just take an old painting of mine that's just kind of been laying around, which most of them do just lay around. Uh, and I'll just post it and I'll say, hey, auction away, comment with your price, and whoever has the highest bid at this time, they get the painting.
Cool.
Um, I'll do that because I'm pretty prolific about painting a lot. So I have a lot of paintings I can do that, but then I don't get too emotionally attached to them. Um, so I'll do that, and that gets me extra money. I don't always get as much money as I would like to get off of a painting, but it's cool because I get a little bit extra cash. my painting's hanging up at somebody's place or at a shop or whatever, and then it motivates me to paint something new. So
Well, yeah,
it's
and you're just on to the next. I mean, it just becomes cyclical, which is awesome. So for those that are interested, it is Tat Gun Joe, his Instagram. If you want to follow along or buy yourself some cool art to hang on your wall, definitely encourage you to do that. I've been kind of bugging Joe to do a painting for me, man, but you know,
oh
he's a
yeah.
busy, he's a busy guy. He's a busy guy, but that's
Yeah,
all
I
right.
forgot
We'll
about
we'll
that
get
too.
it
Yeah,
done, man. We'll get it done.
yeah,
But yeah, no, you know, go support Joe and support other artists. You know, uh, do what you can to help out those that are affected by this. Well, this situation we're all in. But I mean, it's cool that you were able to adapt and make it work. It obviously sucks balls that you had to, you know, lose the shop but I'm also the kind of guy where like, okay, you know, I mean, it happened for a reason, and you'll be back in full force again in no time. You know, before you know it, we'll all do what we can to help you get there, for sure. But this last year's been like big time for reflection on my part as to uh, what I am doing with my time, what I feel I should be doing with my time, and you know, and what I want to do with my time. Those things are generally always conflicting. Uh, to have sounds weird, but to have a couple of those options taken away, yeah, I bitched about it, but at the same time, it it forces me to focus on some other stuff, which is, you know, making the best of a shitty situation. Yes, but at the same time, it's like if not, I would have kept going down the same path and just doing the same things, and you know, and maybe not necessarily making advancements within myself and my business and what I do. So you found the silver lining, Joe. That's awesome, man. I mean, how's the rules up there right now? Is it still no tattooing or is it limited?
Oh, there's tattooing. The only real stipulation they have on us is, and I guess it kind of depends on where you're at, but you just have to wear a mask. That's pretty much it. My sanitation process, or you know, the septic technique and stuff like that, hasn't changed much. Um, I'm a little bit more, you know, I'll clean a little bit more often now, top downs and stuff like that. That's really the only change that's happened is
Okay,
wearing a mask
so
lately.
it's more of an inconvenience than a restriction at this point. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, enough about the personal drama and all that fun stuff. Get back to art a little bit here. At what point did you? I mean, we see a lot of your digital art and stuff like that. Like, at what point did you make that transition from traditional mediums into the digital art form, say using Procreate? And I mean, to me, I've dabbled in Procreate and like I can draw stick figures with it probably because I haven't spent enough time practicing, but like you've gotten pretty good at it. When did you make that transition and what do you enjoy about that medium now?
Well, let's see. So the digital stuff I've always kind of embraced for a long time. I've always done all my own, you know, graphic design and things like that on computer. So I was pretty comfortable with that transition there. And in high school, I did a ton of art classes, digital stuff, a few of them. Um, so that I never really had a problem with that. And I got the first iPad. I'm not even sure what year that came out, but I think I had a Samsung uh, Galaxy Note, little little tablet with a stylus that was inside of it. It was tight, and I think that was when I was at Studio 13. So it must have been like 6 years ago, something like that. Um,
Mhm.
5 or 6, I think. Um, and I started, you know, getting used to that. It took a long time to get comfortable though, because not having that texture and that pressure control like you do with pencil and paper. Um, it took a long time to kind of get comfortable with that. And then once the iPad came out and I got that, I got the textured screen protector on it, which helped me be a lot more comfortable. And I just kept drawing, man. You know, like I I used to really just try to always make sure that I was out drawing everybody. Not
Mhm.
like not like that much of an asshole about it, but like just I wanted to make sure that like if I'm gonna be around people and I'm gonna be on their level, I need to be producing enough to say that I belong here, right? So I always just tried to make sure I was banging out drawings after drawing after drawing, and that really helped me get better at um, being just used to drawing on a tablet, and then also figuring things out that worked and made me work faster.
Mhm.
And over the years, I've just gotten more comfortable and developed my own kind of approach. Like I have videos out there where I kind of show what I do a little bit without explaining it too much. But you know what I love about it is I can tone my paper down. I can just drop a layer of brown, make it transparent. I sketch underneath it. It's toned out, so it doesn't hurt my eyes as much, which makes it, you know, you can more comfortably see the screen for a longer period of time. You can get your whole value set figured out right off that tone paper because you just sketch it and then you refine it and then you do your highlights over the top. You've got that down, and then you can just very seamlessly build on top of that with colors, figure out your color study. It just gets you so prepared for a tattoo where when you sit down to do your tattoo or whatever, you're not having to think of like, where does this go? What's going here? What color is this? You know what's going on. You did it, you know, and you can do a color study in 30 seconds with the iPad. Like, I don't know why anybody wouldn't use it at this point. Who's trying to do custom work anyways, or more like, you know, like stronger color theory and stuff like that. It helps you a ton with like the academic art aspects, you know.
Mhm. Well, I look at a lot of the stuff you're doing, and to me, it reminds me of, okay, so I started tattooing, in the 90s, and what we had for a quick medium around the shop then was just Prismacolors, pencils on paper. And I look at a lot of your Procreate art, and it looks to me like you're drawing with colored pencils on paper. So there's a major, a real familiarity to your art to what I used to do, except for you do it in minutes now, where it would, take me, half a day to produce a nice piece like that. So it's
That's actually
mind
that's
blowing.
actually something that kind of took a while because initially stuff would be too digital. Like I would paint it too perfect, too clean, and it just looked synthetic.
Mhm.
So it took me a while to like kind of let that go and just be loose with it. You know, I do a lot more of my sketches with like the I think it's called peppermint pencil, and the 6B pencil in
Excuse me, I'm
Procreate.
choking on my coffee. Oh, sorry.
Good. Um, and I just like that speed, you know, and keeping it loose and it's okay for it to look like a sketch. Once I got kind of comfortable with that, I feel like I pushed what I could do on my iPad a little bit further. You know?
So now you said you do some short videos or whatever where you're showing people your style and how you do this. Uh, where can people check us out? Is that on your Instagram, or do you have another page?
On my Instagram, every now and then, because with Procreate you can do a time lapse replay, um, and it just basically just plays what happened through the drawing. You can do it like for a fraction of the time, or you can do it for 30 seconds.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of I haven't posted one of those in a while, but I used to have a lot of people asking me about the drawing process and things like that. And it's hard to, you know, maintain your career, keep track of everything, take care of a family, and get back to every single person about every question. So I tried to post stuff to help those people out who might have had questions.
Nice. Well, Gabe's scrolling through your Instagram here or whatever, and I'm thinking you need to post more cat pictures too, because everybody needs cat pictures in their life. So
Yeah,
all
my
in all,
cat.
man, all in all, things are doing good for you these days. Or I mean, how often are you tattooing? Are you available to tattoo if people want to hit you up? Um, do you have a big wait list, or where are you at on that these days?
So I'm still tattooing. I'm just being very selective about what I will do nowadays. I'm really only tattooing a couple times a week. Being asthmatic, I am high risk, so there is a little extra cause for concern
Mhm.
uh, with having to do it to make money. So I'm a little hesitant, to just kind of like, I'm not doing multiple tattoos a day. That's for sure. I'm definitely only doing one a day. I'm not traveling as much. I take a winter break kind of from traveling anyways because I snowboard. It's the time to do it. So once it starts warming up, I'll start, traveling around a little bit more again,
Mhm.
kind of selectively, cautiously.
I have like a little bit of an off-topic question, of course, here because
Yeah.
you said snowboarding or whatever. I mean, I live in the mountains and with the whole pandemic thing or whatever, I mean, obviously you're outdoors, you're relatively social distance, stuff like this. How is that working out for you? I mean, because I even thought about skiing again this year. I haven't skied in 30
Okay.
years, just for something to do. But I mean, do you feel safe out there or whatever, or are there crazy restrictions on that too? Has nothing to do with
Um.
tattooing. I'm just curious.
Oh yeah. No, that's cool. No, I feel fine out there. You're geared up. You're already wearing face mask anyways. You know. You got goggles on too. If anything, you're probably more protected than you
Mhm.
are at a grocery store. But the only thing is that they're just trying to make sure when people are in the line, they're wearing their mask while they're down there to get on the lift,
Mhm.
um, and trying to social distance while you're in line waiting. So they're controlling that a little bit more, which is slowing it down a little bit on the busy days. But it's okay, it's worth it. It kind of depends on the place, though. I travel around to different spots and snowboards, trying to chase the powder and stuff. Some places they have a limited amount of tickets they'll sell in a day. Some places are doing a lottery system. Some places, like season pass holders, get priority. Everybody's kind of having their own rules about that. So you've got
Mhm.
kind of just want to get on, and you've got probably at least 3 ski hills in your area that you can go to within an hour. You just want to see who's got what kind of stipulation. Try to
Yeah.
follow that.
I'm curious. I like to. Well, I can't say I like. I like to observe and see how other people are handling the situation, how other businesses are working. You know what restrictions they're imposing and whether they're enforcing them. That's the whole thing. Like you can have all these written rules and protocols and stuff like that, but who's really enforcing them and stuff like this? You see people walking, through Home Depot or Walmart with their mask over their mouth and their nose hanging out 4 inches, and it's just
Touching it.
that's you.
No, they're always touching the
Oh,
mask and then they're touching other stuff and it's just cross contamination. You
I
know.
mean, unfortunately, a lot of tattooers I know don't understand cross contamination well enough. I can't expect the general public
Right.
to remotely grasp that topic. But just the idiocracy I see out there constantly. But I mean, I'm curious as to seeing how other businesses handle it. Most businesses I go into don't say anything to anybody. It's luckily where I'm at. Majority of the people are pretty respectful, but there's always those few, and it doesn't seem like those people get addressed. You just got to head 2 aisles over and avoid them, and that's that. So,
Yeah, I think as far as the ski hills are concerned, everybody's been seems to be like on board with whatever. Like some places you have to be like I was just up in Michigan, um, kind of like right by Lake Superior, mountains. In Michigan, you can't eat inside. So I got my kid a burger or whatever. We just had to go outside and eat. Not a big deal. That was kind of different because in Wisconsin, you can still at the ski resorts even you can still eat inside. They just have limited seating. So the rules kind of change, wherever
mhm.
you're at. But for the most part, everybody I've been seeing at those places is kind of following along. Not
See,
really
I'm not
fighting.
eating inside anywhere. Me and my wife usually go out for date night. I mean, we haven't had a date night,
Yeah, you
out
guys
at
do
a
that like once a
restaurant
week,
in a
right?
year. What's that?
You guys used to do that like once a week, I thought,
Yeah,
right?
at least once a week we go out and have dinner, at our favorite restaurant, and we haven't done that in a year really. And now we get food to go from there, and we support our restaurants that we enjoy by getting takeout and things like that. But I mean, uh, I just don't even want to go there for now. I mean, until a reasonable portion of the world is vaccinated and they have some better treatments, I'm not. There's no need. I miss it, but I'm also like, it's not that big a deal to me. I like being home. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If I can get my favorite
too.
food at home, and I can eat my favorite food, maybe sitting in my pajamas, then that's a win-win for me. And the beer's cheaper at home than it is at the restaurant. So what the hell? So I don't know. That's just my perspective. And in Massachusetts, I want to say if we even leave the state or go somewhere, when we come back, we got to supposedly self-quarantine for a certain number of days and all this and that, blah, blah, blah. I don't even want to leave my state. I just say, I want to go see you all, but I don't want to deal with the implications of crossing 8 state lines to get where I'm going, and dealing with everybody's, hysteria along the way. It's not worth it to me, man. I can wait. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So I don't think, but we'll just postpone things for a little longer, I guess. But you're bouncing around from state to state, and you're comfortable with that. I mean, obviously,
I'm
'cause
not
you're
going.
doing it, but
I'm not going too far, out of my area or whatever. But I'm, with that, like, I'm going to such rural areas. There's nothing, and I'm not
right.
in contact with anybody.
Yeah.
So
Just so you know, as a guy that lives in one of those rural areas, we frown upon the motherfuckers coming in from out of state and bringing their virus sickened asses with us. Because I mean, it's in jest, but we live in an area where there's a lot of people come up from the heavily populated areas, New York City. They have resort homes up here. They have timeshares up here. They have everything. So when it strikes hard down there in those metro areas, they come running up here. I'm like, man, why? Stay where you're at. Leave us alone, man. We're safe, So, and not in a judgmental fashion, but I'm like, man, my philosophy is if everybody would just sit still for an extended period of time, we'd be in a better position. So, but not that I'm judging you or others for living their lives, because I can't say I'm right. I mean, I could be wrong. It may have to be. We may all have to get it and do the herd immunity thing. I don't know. I mean, you can argue either side of that coin. But I err on the side of caution, I guess. So, but that's just me. So I like to hear other people are proceeding with their lives and handling the situation. So
yeah, I think with the snowboarding thing, it's a little bit different. You're outside, not in a crowded area. It's not you're super distant from people. So I'm a little bit more comfortable with that than I am. I feel better doing that than I do.
yeah, and I'm not judging
Know what
you,
I mean?
Joe, at all. I'm
Right,
not
yeah,
judging
no.
you, man. I love you, brother.
Yeah.
But it's truly a curiosity. It's that's all. And I totally understand the outdoors thing, and I mean, and yeah, I mean, you're not boarding within a couple of feet of somebody else. It makes total sense. But I just like to see how other people handle it, and I want other people's perspectives, because the more information I get from others, I can kind of fine tune my own thought process and philosophies on the whole thing. Because, I think I'm a fairly intelligent guy, but I certainly don't know everything, man. It would be foolish to think I did. So, okay, way off topic of art and tattooing or whatever. So, I when do you think you'd be comfortable getting back out on the touring circuit and tattooing in a convention style environment again? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I'm kind of just waiting to see how they handle it too, because I don't know what the stipulations are going to be, how things are going to change, and how that's going to affect how we can handle our business. And, is it going to affect the profitability of it? You know, um, I just don't know. So there's so much uncertainty with it that
Mhm.
I'm not even really concerning myself with it. I'm just basically kind of approaching things like day by day.
I
I'll
mean,
wait.
it's going to change. We know that. As to what's going to change, we don't know that. You know, I think we're going to see people wearing masks while tattooing pretty much everywhere. I mean, and even if they found a cure for this tomorrow, which they won't, I think this is with us forever and a day. It's going to be like any other virus. It's just going to be there. Hopefully, we have good treatment for it. But I mean, I just think people are becoming more conscious as to their decisions and how they affect others. So I think we're going to be seeing masks during tattooing, you know, quite prevalently for quite a while. I've never been a huge fan of getting tattooed at a show, just because, I mean, it's, as a guy that's been doing it for decades, and we do the best with what we can with what we have in those circumstances, and it's safe, but is it as safe as being in a private studio? No, it's never going to be as safe as being in a private studio. But so that's going to change. Will the booths get bigger? Will we have more space? Will there be, what other limitations will be imposed? Profitability, I'm not worried about because it's like any other business in the world. Whatever costs the vendor incurs, essentially you're going to get passed on to the consumer. I mean, you know, if your booth costs you a little bit more, or you have to buy a couple extra materials, your costs go up. It's just, so therefore the tattoo cost goes up. So I think that's all stuff that's going to naturally adjust. I mean, personally, I'll consider traveling again when maybe half the population is vaccinated. I think that's a point when I'll start to think about it, you know. But my thoughts may change between here and then too. So, but I need to see some forward progress in the combating of this to move forward in that direction again. So,
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat.
okay.
Gonna wait it out, see what happens.
Yeah. I got other friends that are just like, man, if there's a show tomorrow, I'm going. And I'm like, cool. I'm not going to judge you for that either. You know, it's kind of your, you know, do you, you know, you do you and whatnot. And sure, you jump in the deep end and tell me if I can swim there or not, you know, and I'll, you know, I mean, not to let my friends play guinea pig, but that's kind of what I'm going to do for a little bit. You know, as you get older, you everything heals slower. So, you know, you twist your ankle, it takes months and months to heal. Or, you know, when you're in your 20s, you sprain your ankle and you're back out running that weekend. It's a different world now. So be a little more cautious in my older age.
I've slowed down a little bit on most stuff, but like even snowboarding now, it's like I wiped out the other day because I was just fucking too hard and hit a rock, and like it popped off of it. Wasn't ready. And I fell, and like my arm got pulled up, and like my arm's still sore from something that like a few years ago I'd have been fine. Off. So gotta relax a little bit, you know? Play it safe.
So you got anything in the works? Anything upcoming? Any new art you going to be presenting to the world or for sale or whatever? Plug some stuff, man.
Yeah, I've got some paintings behind me that are mine. This Lego guy, this creepy little Lego guy, and then this alien. This is something me and my daughter are doing. It's a little monkey reaching for donut. So I got some stuff in the works. I'm always like kind of dabbling on multiple pieces, but you know, with the recent passing of Gary, I've been kind of thinking about, you know, maybe trying to do a piece for him or something. Um, you know, maybe I can auction off to give the proceeds to something like that. You know,
That's sad, man. There's a lot of people been going away lately, and I'll be honest with you, my wife had a rough weekend. She just this weekend, within like 4 or 5 days, 2 childhood friends of hers passed. It's uh, just you grow numb to it after a while. It's been relentless. So I my condolences. I'm sorry for your loss for sure. It's just strange damn time. So you want to do something like memorial, or are we gonna do
Yeah, I
some?
think so. I'm trying to think of something like, I don't know, I can do where I take, kind of like pay homage to his style. He has, such a strong, identifiable approach and style to tattooing art. So been kind of thinking about maybe like kind of emulate that, pay homage to that, and mix it up with. So I've been, playing with that in my mind. Um, that's kind of been something I've been thinking about the last couple of days. And then right now I'm just trying to figure out some printer issues so I can start producing. I want to produce large scale prints like this size, like 24 by 36. Everybody does 9 by 12. The teens, I want to do bigger, more powerful art prints. So I got a printer. I'm just trying to fine tune the ink setup and stuff. It's kind of a headache. But work on that every now and then just to try to get prints pumped out. I'm gonna revamp my website soon. Just try to push more of the online art aspect of stuff, especially since tattooing it's in a weird place right now. Got to slow.
You're breaking up a little bit more here again. Yeah, it's
You
just
might
when
just
you.
try getting closer to the microphone if possible. That might be the
Yeah, right. I'll
could
scoot
help.
in.
All right, so tell us about this new printer again. So you're working on some large scale stuff.
Yeah, I got a big printer so I can do 24 by 36 prints. I think I can actually do 24 by like 90, but I want to do larger scale prints and start pushing online art market like that a little bit more, um, just to kind of try to adjust for tattooing slowing down for me.
Mm-hmm. But
Um,
you're doing this all in house. You're bringing the full production in house here. So, you get this thing running nice. Who knows? You might be able to print stuff for other people. It might be a few extra bucks there too. So,
yep, yeah, I've done a few prints for people in the past. It's just something you gotta. It's a different learning curve, you know. Um, Paper issues, ink issues, and computer communication, troubleshooting, and all kinds of things you gotta just adjust to and learn, which is good. I like learning, man. I'm a super nerd, so whenever I have an opportunity to learn new stuff, try new things, go through new struggles, uh, and you accomplish those goals and
yep.
come out a lot stronger. I love that stuff. So.
Yeah, no, just this morning, I got a big old box arrived from the Netherlands. It's upgrade kit for my 3D printer, my dual extruder 3D printer. So they got a new upgrade for it. So I just jumped right on. So as soon as I get off the horn here with you, I'm going to go over there and dismantle my printer and put a bunch of new parts in and learn some new firmware, software upgrades, all that, and hopefully have a little fun with that to work on
that
some new
stuff's fun.
prototypes and stuff. Yeah, I like you said, learning something new, and I need to know how it works. That's why I like to build my own and stuff like that too, because I hate when something's not working and I have to rely on somebody else, call a technician or something, and wait. I don't like waiting. I'm not a patient person.
Yeah.
So this way here, seeing how I built the whole printer from the ground up, something goes wrong, I can usually get in there myself, figure it out, and move forward. So
Yeah, I would love to get a 3D printer. I've thought about like taking my art into like a 3D molding program, making it more realistic or whatever, and then 3D printing it. Like that's something that I would eventually really, really, really love to get into. I think especially because the stuff I draw, I try to think of it three-dimensionally. I think that plays a big role in how I approach the drawing and coloring and stuff, light sources. Um, So for me, that'd be super fun to actually make 3D.
well, I'm no genius in that area, but I definitely have some experience and some other friends that are pretty damn good at it. So that I rely on when I need a little help here and there. So hit me up if you need a little information or whatever. But I would say you get a couple of cheap printers to start with. I want to say Creality makes one called the Ender 3 version 2. about $250 for a decent filament printer. Not going to be production quality, but I mean, to get familiar with it, you can make some cool stuff and really get familiar with it. Find out if you like it. If you like it, then you jump in the deep end of the pool and you spend a few $1,000s getting a nice production quality printer. But you know, you don't want to spend that kind of money and then find out you know, you're not as fond of it as you thought you were.
Right.
And same thing with the resin printers. I bought a relatively inexpensive resin printer, which is the coolest thing. Starts with a bath of epoxy, really, or plastic resin, and then UV rays cures. It's just cool stuff. But I bought a cheap one, a $300 one to play in that sandbox for a little bit too, and then if I like what it's doing, or if I have a real use for it within the business, I'll get a nicer one. But yeah, I like to tinker, man. I'm a prototyper, inventor, so it works for me. But I'll help you in any way I can with that. Or if I can,
Yeah,
if I
appreciate
can't
it.
help you, I will get you in touch with some people that then definitely can help you. So, but
Yeah, I'll let you know once I start getting into it. But like I said, it's definitely I have a strong interest in it. Seeing
cool.
my stuff in 3D and being able to actually like hold it and whatever it'd be pretty
Well,
cool.
if you make some small 3D models or stuff like that too, and you want to see what they look like 3D printed, we'll get together offline and send me the files, and
Yeah, for sure.
print you out a little piece, and you can see kind of have somewhat of an expectation as to what the limitations are. So
Yeah.
really, the limitations are based on the amount of money you want to spend. I mean, there are like $1 million 3D printers out there. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I mean,
That's
you don't
pretty
need to
crazy.
go that far, But realistically, production quality, you could probably expect to spend $5,000 on a really nice 3D printer where you can feel comfortable selling the products coming off of it. You might be able to get away with a $2,000-3,000 printer, but you're going to have to do more legwork on that. But that's
Yeah,
a
more wet sandy.
whole different. Yeah. You're going to do more work in the fine tuning and the details and the machine. Yeah, you're going to do more of the work than the machine and the software. So, that's what you're paying for is the artificial intelligence and the capabilities of the machines and stuff. But cool, man. I'm glad you're doing well. Sorry you had to let the shop go. Certainly sorry for your loss, but your artwork is killing it, man. It's you're producing large, cool, colorful stuff, and I encourage anybody out there to support you by getting some of your prints or stepping up and getting on some of these painting auctions. I know I haven't been looking at them as much because I'm buried in my new projects and endeavors and whatnot, but I still want to talk to you about doing that painting for me. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We need to move forward on that. But
Yeah.
cool, man. Like, you got anybody you want to say hi to, or anything else you want to plug before we let this go? Or
Oh man. I don't know. I guess the main thing would be shout out to Gear's family. Sorry for the loss that they had to go through. He was an amazing dude. One of the best guys I've ever met. One of the best in tattooing. All around great, positive dude. Need more people like him. He's a good dude, inspiration to everybody. So condolences to the family. As far as tattooing is concerned, man, I don't even know. Maybe if Kane's watching this, Big Teddy Kane, what's up? I'll plug you quick. And of course, anybody I look up to, I appreciate everybody sharing everything they do. I don't always say it or talk to everybody. I don't talk a lot. I'm pretty short worded most of the time, but everybody inspires me to continue to push greatness and be the best version of myself. So I appreciate all the kind words and all the clients who are still interested in getting tattooed, supporting me, and everybody who's bought my art over this last year. It's probably one of the most financial based on. I appreciate and love everybody for the support. About it, I guess.
Right on, man. Right on. We love you too. And now here's the point where I got to ask you to tell people to like, share, subscribe to the videos or whatever, because, well, that's how we're going to make this channel a little bit bigger and a little more informative for people. So go away.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
Plug me, man. Plug me, motherfucker.
so yeah, I tag needle jig in every single tattoo post I do. They're really, really, really good quality needles, good grips too, and I love them. I've been fucking with needle jig for a long time now, probably 6 years, 5 years. And one of the things that like immediately, attracted me to needle jig was the ability to actually talk to Mark in person, get his feedback, and get information about the product. Give him, and he was very open and willing to listen to input from you, which was kind of a first, I think, for me in this industry. I liked that, um, that closed quarter communication made me super comfortable. So I started using the product a lot more, and then a few years later, Mark hit me up about getting on the team, and I was super stoked about that. So been rocking with them ever since. So yeah, get on Instagram, follow 'em, Needle Jig. And what's your YouTube channel too? That's
It's a needle jig tattoo supply. So
Needle Jig
that's where
Tattoo.
that's where they should be when they're seeing this video. But yeah, but hey, man, a plug would have been cool. You didn't need to suck up that hard. It's always great seeing you, Joe. I can't wait to see you again in person. I miss you, and man, I hope things get back to normal sometime soon.
Yeah, it'd be nice to do a convention. Good time.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well,
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to all the viewers. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to follow Joe, check him out, support a brother during these dismal times we're all living in. And, if he comes into your area, make sure you get tattooed by him, because his stuff's sick, man. If you're interested in his style, he does it very well. So thanks again, Joe.